God bless you guys. My name is KATIRIA, Miranda, and I want to speak to you guys about a person in the Bible who has influenced my life and I'm sure has influenced yours, and that is the Apostle Paul. So I just want to give you guys a little bit of background about his life, maybe that you didn't know of, and I just want to touch certain parts of his life to share with you guys today. So let's start with the beginning of his life. And if you didn't know, Paul was born in a city named Tarsus, and he was born to an Israelite family from the tribe of Benjamin. And it says in the Bible he was circumcised on the 8th day. He was also brought to Jerusalem later on in his life to a rabbinical school and of the Pharisees, and the person who taught him personally was Rabbi Gamaliel, it says, and he was actually a Pharisee. Paul, growing up, he was one of those Pharisees that Jesus talked so much about, being self-righteous and unmerciful and living a hypocritical way of life. So Paul was this in actuality. He was a Pharisee, and he actually witnessed the death of Stephen, who was the first martyr, and he actually approved of it. So you can see the background of him. Paul, he loved to persecute the Christians, and that's what he did. And I want to speak to you guys about the road of Damascus, which is where he had an encounter with Christ. And it says that he asked the high priest to go to Damascus to go in search of those who are following Christ, and he was supposed to put those Christians in chains and punish them. And that's what he was going there to do. And as he was on his way there, it says that a bright light came from heaven and it blinded him, and he fell, and he heard a voice that says, "Saul, why are you persecuting me?" You know, so after this, he was led to Damascus by his followers because he was blinded for 3 days, it says. And the Bible also says that Jesus spoke to Ananias, and Ananias was supposed to meet Saul, and he was scared because he said to Jesus, I've heard of all this that he has done to the Christians, you know. And Jesus' reply was so beautiful. He said to him, "Go, this man is my chosen instrument to proclaim my name to the Gentiles and their kings and to the people of Israel. I will show him how much he must suffer for my name." So it's awesome because God had a plan with his life since the beginning, but he did also know that because of what Paul had done, he was going to suffer a lot, you know. So from there, it says later in the story that when Ananias met Saul, he was healed from his eyes. That it says that he was blind for 3 days. He was baptized, and from there he became a Christian, and from there is where he started his walk with Christ. And it says he was in Arabia for 3 years, where he says that Jesus taught him personally the gospel and revelations and stuff like that. And now I just want to get into something that is dear to my heart, and it's the thorn in the flesh that Paul speaks about that he went through. And I want to read you guys this Bible verse, and it says, "Because of the surpassing greatness of the revelations, for this reason, to keep me from exalting myself, there was given to me a thorn in the flesh, a messenger of Satan to torment me, to keep me from exalting myself." So Paul, like many of us, went through many sufferings, and he called it a thorn in the flesh because his thorn in the flesh was being conceited. You know, we'd go through different sufferings and different things to keep us, you know, from exalting ourselves, but his was being conceited. So he says that, you know, Satan had to torment him like this, but this was all under God's will, you know. Whatever it takes for someone to become humble and to serve him the right way, Jesus will allow it, you know. So that's what happened in the life of Paul. So he explains much of this thorn in the flesh and how he suffered, but he remained faithful to him. And you see how much he depended on Christ. You know, it kept him to where Jesus wanted him, you know. So many people don't understand what that thorn in the flesh was. We don't know what it is today. He didn't really say, but people and scholars today say that it may have been an ailment, a physical ailment. So from there, I want to also share with you guys some of the books that Paul has made. It's Galatians, 1st and 2 Thessalonians, 1 and 2 Corinthians, Romans, Ephesians, Philemon, Colossians, Philippians, 1 and 2 Timothy, Titus, and it is debatable about the book of Hebrews. And if he wrote the book of Hebrews, that would have been 14 in total. So you can see how much he had a big influence in the New Testament, you know. And I want to share with you guys really quick some of the things that Paul went through, the sufferings that he went through for the gospel. And it's found in 2 Corinthians 11. And we see that he went through shipwrecks, he went through having no food, sometimes having food, sleepless nights, he was beaten with rods and stones, lashes by Jewish leaders, and all to that sort that you can read in 2 Corinthians 11, just so you have a taste of everything that he went through. his death was brutal. He was beheaded and he was tortured by King Nero in Rome in AD 67. So he went through a lot, but I just want to leave you guys with this Bible verse in Philippians 4. It says, I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living plenty or in want. I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. Amen. That's beautiful. He went through so much in his life, so many sufferings, but it was all in the purpose of God. Look, all that he went through, look at how much how much he's been an influence to us today, thousands of years later. So you can understand things that he went through. It was all for a purpose, and he counted all things for Christ. No matter what he went through, everything was for a purpose, and his number one reason for life was Jesus. So he was going to give it to him since that day from Damascus that he had an encounter with him. So that's all I want to leave you guys with today. Paul's an awesome blessing, and I hope that you learn a little something new with all that I have spoken today. Amen. God bless.